something to scream about.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome
Howdy,
to
howdy.
Something to Scream About with us, Distorted Views. On my right, we have Morgan.
Howdy,
On my
howdy.
left, we have Cameron. I'm not giving you names this time.
I was waiting.
No names this time. But and then me, of course, your host with the most, Jordan. Yeah.
Sick.
So welcome to episode 8. This one, as you can see by the title, is called The Universe and Beyond. We are diving deep this time. We are firing up our rockets. We've got our space helmets on, and we're about to venture off into the depths of the universe.
We're going on that magic
We
bus.
sure are.
That's right. The magic carpet is laid. So we're ready to roll.
Yeah, right.
And we're prepared again today. We've done our research. Well, we're going to. We've got the computer right here. And we're going to be looking up various different articles and stories, sharing our experiences with the universe, alien life, and beyond. And hopefully having a good deep dive into
Good old
it.
chat.
Yeah, so we may as well start with our some format that we're trying to develop here with housekeeping.
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 Oh, no, no.
Knock, knock. Oh, no.
Oh, no, no.
So,
Culture appropriation.
it is a little bit.
Consuela from Family
I'm just
Guy.
waiting to get cancelled.
It's
Yeah.
Consuela from Family
Yeah,
Guy.
that's what I was thinking.
We're just referencing something that's already out there and not cancelled. So, housekeeping. First up, obviously, we appreciate anybody that shares or likes or listens to this podcast. So let other people know, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars only. Jokes. No, we just 5 stars.
Before I see a 4, I'm fucking gunning you
Yeah,
down.
we're writing your name down, and you'll be on the hit list.
Yes.
Yeah. So, second thing, we have a announcement to make. And no, we're not getting married. We have a new song that is going to be released on New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
I think we're
pretty
going
much.
New Year's.
New Year's Eve,
whatever.
yes, but we're
New
going to
Year's.
announce it on the 1st of December. So check out our socials for a pre-save link, which really helps us. I'm going to go into the little spiel as to why for like 30 seconds, because obviously it helps the algorithm, and then it shows that Spotify and everybody else, all the people that make playlists, to go, hey, this song is cool. There's a lot of sort of hype around it, and it takes 2 seconds. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. So go and help us out by just clicking the link, following the little instructions, and saving it to your little Spotify playlist. I don't even care if you never listen to it after that, but that'll be fine. And it's a good song. It is a good song.
I love it.
Minty likes it.
Minty does like
What's
it.
your thoughts?
He's not going to... He's just sniffing it. Yeah, Minty's joined us for the podcast today. And... yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping. Do you guys have any other housekeeping that you need to run through with everyone? I mean,
Just
thousands
that
of people.
we're same old stuff. Just working on the
EP.
tutorials and stuff. There's a new tutorial out on our YouTube about turning MIDI bass, trying to make it sound like a real bass. So, if you're a producer or, just a musician that wants to put bass lines in their songs or something, then go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel.
Yep, cool. Nice plug.
Yeah.
It's your tutorial as well, so...
Bang, bang.
I haven't watched it, I'll be honest. I mean, you showed me a little bit of it,
You
but
should watch it.
I should watch it because I might learn something.
There you go.
Morgan's replaced by MIDI.
Yeah. How to replace your bass player with MIDI.
That's what we should have called it,
Yeah.
actually. That's a way better name.
That is good.
Makes me look amazing. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
it does. Well, I'm MIDI as well, so I can be replaced. We've got a new segment. This was your idea, Cam.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
What
Look
did I
out.
do? Can't remember.
Tip of
Oh, the tip of
the day. Or the tip of the podcast, tip of the whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, so pretty much we're doing a little tip of the day thing we're going to start adding in, and it's going to range from anything. Doesn't have to be music related. It can be anything related. And it's just a tip that we came up with that we live by that we think, other people could learn from. And that tip is... that's it. That's a tip.
Yeah.
No, the tip is so before you make a decision, you really should just try and sit on it for a bit, whether it be, if it's an emotional decision, at least wait like an hour or two or try and sleep on it. Or if it's a musical one, like a mix or something, try and wait at least a day or two and then come back to it once you've rested your ears, because in regards to the emotional stuff, a lot of times we'll make a knee-jerk reaction to something, and then we make a decision based on how we feel emotionally in that moment. And then once you've calmed down, you're just like, oh, crap. Why did I do that for? And it's literally not the choice you wanted to make. So, yeah.
That's true, yeah. So you sort of react off emotion and not really think it through rationally sometimes. Can make a rash decision and end up probably doing something that's wrong. So yeah, if you're arguing with somebody or if you're in a position where you have been hurt by what someone said or something that's happened, just chill with the idea for a while, and the solution might be a little bit clearer once you've had a chance to let it settle, so to speak. And then, like you said, yeah, in music, giving your ears a rest with an idea. You might just have written an idea, think it's the sickest thing in the world, and it's like the temptation to just render the whole thing and be like, cool, I'm done, send it to the label or send it to the client or whatever it is, I'm finished. And then you wake up the next day and go, holy shit, that sounds crap. I wish I hadn't done that.
Fatigue is real.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
I think you and I did that a lot when we first started mixing. We're just like, this sounds sick. And then we'd go to bed, wake up the next day and we play it. We're like, what were we thinking? Like the high end was always like, shh.
Yeah.
I got a little second tip now that I'm just on a roll. Tip
So
2, which
tips.
is
Tips everywhere.
You're not meant to
Get your tips out.
it's not meant to be a second one, but I just thought of it, so I'm going to say it. Always look at yourself when things go wrong and try and see if you were the one who put yourself in that position in the first place. Because it's very easy to point the finger and blame everybody else, but I'd use this tip all the time for myself. When something bad happens to me and I want to go, oh, it's their fault, I sit down and go, wait, what did I do? Because it's a lot of the time you might be like, crap, it was actually me who put myself in this position to even be, even if your excuse is valid or, you can point the finger and be like, they did that to me. If you put yourself in a position to let them do that to you, you're sort of part to blame as well. So just be conscious about your actions as well. Don't always be like, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault.
Wise words.
Bang, bang.
I like that one.
I like
That's
that
a good,
too.
good one to add in. Minty's going absolutely nuts here.
Like,
Calm down. Cool. So that's great. That's our new little section. We're going to try and just include a tip every. Go on, buddy.
Didn't you
Tip
say
every
to
now
like
and then.
level up your life? That's kind of the slogan of the tip of the day. Tip of the day. Level
yes,
up your
I didn't
life.
peek. Nailed it. I
Yeah.
towed back just enough that I wouldn't peek.
Yeah. See.
He's behaved on my lap.
Yeah.
Is he? He looks dead.
He's a lap dog. That's
He
why.
knows I'll fucking choke him if he keeps fucking up.
Nah, he's scared of you.
He's
That's
your
why
Minty.
you've beaten him into
Who's a good
submission.
boy?
Yeah. So that's cool. Let's move on.
Good boy.
We've got Cam. It's Cam's
Me.
turn. It's your turn
Are we
again.
doing alien
Again?
stuff?
No, not yet.
I didn't spoil it.
Yeah,
The
you
name
just
of
We
the
jumping the
already
gun.
told them we're talking about aliens.
You've prematurely alien
Oh, fuck.
yourself.
Premature.
And
You begging premature alien story.
yeah, you prematurely aliened. So let's wait on that. We've got Would You Rather next because
Oh,
we
yes.
enjoyed doing that last time.
Oh,
and
that was fun. I
And
enjoyed
Cam
that.
has been given the instructions to find some Would You Rather questions. He's been busting his ass all week finding these.
All morning. Yeah. About 10 minutes before the podcast started.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Ready as
I'm a
I'll
bit
ever be.
scared.
Let's
do I
do
need to
this.
turn and face you or
Would
can
you
I sit?
rather- Do the
I'm
game show.
I'm going to turn
Game show
around.
format.
Rather.
Would you rather.
Would you rather be deaf or blind?
Death?
Deaf with an F, sorry.
Deaf with an F.
Or blind.
Deaf with an F or blind.
Yes, Queen.
That's a really tricky one.
We're coming right out the gate with these, eh?
Yeah, it's like,
Psychological torture.
see, my initial answer is to go straight in and say, because I love music and listening to music, I think that joy would be enough. And like, you'd get super, like, you just enjoy sounds and things, but the world is very beautiful to look
Yeah.
at as well. And I feel
I'm
like
going deaf.
One is more of a, for me, it's like without sight, being able to hear everyone and sit down right now and communicate with people, we can still talk and it
You
would
have a
be
connection.
so
Nah.
cool. But like being not blind, being able to see, but being deaf, it's like you're so independent.
There are ways
You can still
there
walk
are, yeah,
around
there
and
are
be
ways
on-
of communicating when you're deaf as well. Like there's sign language.
Yeah, like,
and-
or you're going to make everyone in your life learn sign language. I doubt that'll happen. You guys wouldn't learn sign language from me. Except
Yes,
you
I
just,
would.
You just do this.
Yeah. We just,
That's the only sign language you'd never learn.
we just pull the
For
finger.
those on Spotify, I just put my finger up.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going deaf. That's my answer to that.
So Morgan doesn't care about music at all. That's basically
Morgan-
what he just said in
Morgan doesn't talk to anyone anyway.
I had to give.
He just sits in his
that. No,
room.
it's all right. It's a hard one. You got to go somewhere.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not
Exactly.
answering it.
I'm
You
going
have to
blind.
answer one.
I'm going blind.
Isn't that a Void Matter song?
What?
Going blind. It is. No, it's Running Blind.
Running blind.
Running blind. That's the void
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Hello, Luke.
I'm not running blind, but I'm going blind. That's my
you not
answer.
eat my microphone?
What's your answer, Cam? What's the?
Oh, I don't have to answer it, do I?
Yeah, you do. You gotta.
Shit, I didn't
Gotta give your
think.
answer. You gotta pick. You can't just throw a
Um,
curveball and avoid it.
Yeah, look, music's too much to me. I have to have my ears.
All right.
Because I can play guitar by just, I think if I was practicing with my eyes closed, for like after years, you'd be able to play
Yeah.
the guitar without even looking at the frets.
So basically, Morgan's going to lead us around, but he's not going to hear any directions that we have for him.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anyway, see us on stage
I'd
soon.
get a notepad and be able to write, and then you'd be able to understand me.
Yeah, true. All right.
How would you write if you couldn't? Oh wait,
He's dead.
how would we see it if we?
Oh, yeah, we're blind.
You were writing it down.
Good job, idiot. Braille.
Braille, or we all learn Morse code.
I think we all need to have the same like
I think
handicap.
we need to go
yeah.
into the next question.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're sitting on this
Okay.
one for too long.
Would you rather have a really good job with really good money, but you work for yourself, or a really good job with really good money, but you work for someone else? And if you need me to go in depth a little bit more, it's so both jobs are good and you're earning good money, but one of them you have to control what you do for work every day, and you have to control obviously your clients and your income and da. Or the other one, you work for someone else where you're just getting told what to do, where to go, what time to be there, da. But the good side is that you don't really have to worry. You just rock up, do your thing, go home, and then
leave
you're
your brain
fucking
at the
sweet.
door. Is this for the rest of our lives?
Sure, job security is
Yeah.
really real in our fucking lifestyle. isn't
Well,
it?
I'm 100% work for myself
So am
because
I.
I can
Yeah,
direct that
definitely.
where
Really?
I want.
I thought you were going to say the other thing.
I would love to be able to know how to work for myself.
See, I was thinking you'd be like someone else because it's like easy, because you just rock up, you're just like, I don't have to worry about it, because that's pretty tempting. Like you get good money.
It is.
It is
like,
tempting.
But
because then
I feel like you'd have satisfaction if you knew you're doing it for yourself. Like there's that level of
yeah.
You can only take it so far working for
Self-satisfaction.
someone else. Put it that
Yeah.
way. You can't. If you're the head of it, you're the one that's going to be leading the charge. You're going to be taking it where you want to go, and you end up, and you can just direct wherever you want to end your life. Like if you want to have the business start doing something, then sweet. But if you're working for someone else, you get to a point where you're only just working for what they want and not what.
I like putting in the perspective of that if you go and do a 10-hour or a 12-hour shift of overtime, and you get a little bit extra money at the end of the week, but the amount of extra work you did made the business a shit ton more cash. If you work for yourself and do that same 10 to 12 hours, you get a lot more out of it.
Yep.
Accumulative across a year of extra hard work, you're going to be a lot further off.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
yeah, I like that one.
Thank you. One more.
One more. He's only done 3. Took 10 minutes.
Yeah, I couldn't think too much. Would you rather have the best drum kit in the world or the best bass in the world, but your progression is 20% slower? Like your progression of getting better at your instrument is 20% forever? Or would you rather have an average shitty drum kit or average bass, but your progression is 20% faster?
Average shitty
Oh
bass.
yeah, it's got to be the average one. That's even more fun.
Yeah. You can make a shitty guitar sound absolutely incredible if you set it up properly and you have the technique to back it up.
I was going to
Yeah,
say
progression.
20% faster with a shittier instrument, but then you just, after like 2 years, you just go ahead
Buy
and buy the
another
good one.
You get sponsored because you're that good.
Yeah.
All right, well,
You
fuck
get
you.
a free drum kit and you're
There you
on
go,
your way.
done.
That was
Did
easy.
you answer?
Beat my
Or?
tits.
Yeah, what's yours? Would you rather have a shitty?
Bro, I can make a $100 guitar sound sick.
Yeah.
I'm
that
that
was
good
an
at
easy one.
producing because I'm so talented.
Cricket.
Woo! I was going to make a cricket noise, but I got no idea how to do that. So
So is that you done
it's
with?
rated sideways.
Yeah, it was this morning. I wonder
Thanks,
if
Ali.
Actually.
we were going to go for a skate this morning, but it was absolutely wrecking down. It's this what's it called? El Nino?
What?
Oh, for God's
Why are you
sake!
speaking
What's this?
Spanish?
I don't know. It's called a.
¿Cómo
There's a weather
estás?
event that's going on right now.
Rain.
El,
It's called rain, you fucking idiot.
El Nino, La Nina. Oh my God, this is going. Yeah, here we go.
All
La
right.
Nina. What is the meaning of La Nina, and how will the weather affect Australia's summer? Oh, they're trying to make me.
They're fucking labeling everything nowadays. They can't
No,
just
no,
call
no,
it a
no,
storm.
no, no. This has been around for ages. This is a weather system, and it just brings a lot of rain.
Storm.
Across most of Australia, El Nino or La Nina, so I was right, conditions have the strongest influence on how the climate varies. They belong to a cycle known as the El Nino Southern Oscillation, which has an irregular timescale of several years. Basically, it happens, I think I heard every 10 years, but, several years,
We're an
whatever.
educational podcast.
During a La Nina event, strong trade winds, I don't know what a trade wind is, blow west across the Pacific Ocean, pushing warm surface water towards Asia and the seas north of Australia. The warmer waters lead to increased rainfall across northern and eastern Australia. The second consecutive La Nina announced on Tuesday is the first time back-to-back events have occurred in a decade since 2010-11 and 2011-12. It isn't that uncommon for La Nina events to occur, but it's going to... Wow, it happened for 3 consecutive years back then. But yeah, we're in one of these. So it's a lot of
Rain.
slightly cooler, a lot of rain, tropical kind of rain.
Can
floods.
we talk about aliens?
Well, hang on. We've got to go down the list.
What's the next thing?
The music in the news.
Oh, right, pissing. Speaking of rain,
Oh,
it's rain and piss, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Speaking of rain.
That girl
Oh
pissed.
my God.
I think it wasn't a bad thing.
So
Should we introduce this first
Okay,
before we
yeah.
go
Well,
into our
I think
opinions?
it's pretty
on it?
obvious. If you've been living under a rock, you've seen that a front woman from a rock band decided to invite a fan up on stage, lie him down on the stage. I don't know what he was doing with his mouth open, but she decided to relieve herself.
On his face.
Liquid.
Yeah. From her bladder. Let's be clear about this. On his face, and he seemed to love it. But everyone else who watches the video and wasn't there in the moment,
Is backlashing, being like, me.
well,
This is what I think.
all right.
Well, that's what else is there to say?
Well,
She
nothing.
pissed on his face,
Yeah.
and it was a singer at a show, and everyone's having a talk about it on
Yeah,
the internet.
they
'cause
sure are.
Well, when
people
you're in
are
the
soft.
moment, things happen, like one thing leads
She
to another.
literally grabbed the mic and screamed, "I'm gonna piss in someone's fucking face."
Did she?
Yes, I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
the video on YouTube. She's
I'm
like, "I'm gonna piss on your fucking face."
I gotta pee and I can't make it to the bathroom, so we might as well make a show out of it. That's her quote.
Yes.
Wow.
And then she said, "Who wants to get pissed on?" And this dude went, "Me." And then she was like, "Good."
Exactly.
And he
like that.
lied down on the fucking floor. And she said, "I'm going to piss on your face." And he's like, "Fucking sick, bro." And gave it a thumbs up. And off she did. Off she went.
And then she said,
Oh, man.
"Security, get him out of here." And then on Twitter they said, "We had a great time last night at Welcome to Rockville." Obviously, Sophia got carried away. That's not something the rest of us expected, and obviously not the world. And it's not something you'll see again at our shows. Thanks for bringing it last night, Daytona. See,
Yeah.
Sophia got carried away. No shit.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What's people exactly are they getting upset about? They didn't get pissed on.
Okay, I think
It's two consenting adults. She made it very clear what she was going to do. He made it very clear that he was okay with it.
okay, true, yeah.
If she was on the crowd going, woo, just fucking
Yes.
pissing on all the people in the front row, fucking all right, calm
True.
down, love.
Here's my 2.5 cents. They went for a rock show, not for a public urination. The rest of the fans, old mate up the front who signed up for this and lay down for it, obviously put his life on the line and knew what he was taking.
Fuck my
His
tits.
life on the line.
Everyone,
Man was gonna like it was
Everyone
life or
else
death
surrounding.
situation.
poor. I don't know if this is an all ages show, but let's just like
If it was, I'm suddenly a lot
18
less
plus.
okay
if
with
it was an 18 plus, let's just presume it was that for now. I don't know, but if you're fresh 18, you didn't go sign up for this.
It's rock and roll, bro.
Oh no. Okay, so here we Wow.
I mean,
How far is rock and roll going these
far
days?
as-
so
Piss,
if
apparently.
we go back in time a bit, I
She
can't
used to
remember
be
his
way
exact
worse in
name.
the 90s, man.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact name of the guy. but he'd shit all over the place and throw shit at people.
Ozzy Osbourne, most likely.
What?
No, I can't remember his name.
He
It
ate
was
a
punk
bat and
guy,
shit.
but he got
Yeah,
really
that's crazy.
Corona, he was the first one.
Yeah, it was Ozzy.
Ozzy
No.
Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne did some weird stuff as well.
Old mate used to cut his wrists and shit.
Yeah, there's like doing taboo things on stage is not a new
And
concept.
it's
Okay,
always been around
It's
rock and metal.
because it
'cause
hasn't
rock and metal
happened
and
in so
I
long.
found
and
it.
all that shit is.
I've found it. Alas, on-stage antics at rock and roll shows aren't exactly a rarity. Two
No.
music stars who are known for their shock tactics come to mind. Ozzy Osbourne, who bit the head off a dead bat in an Iowa concert
did.
in 1982. Things were a bit more, relaxed. And Alice Cooper, whose head was, in quote, chopped off for his audience more times than we can remember. Old school fans of The Doors may recall Jim Morrison was arrested in 1969 after he was accused of exposing himself to fans at a concert. The rocker, then 25, was convicted of indecent exposure and open profanity. So, well, then why isn't she? What? He was sentenced to 6 months in jail and died just 2 years later. Well, that went downhill quickly.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
So she's...
I was waiting for the whole Jim Morrison dying
well,
part of that.
Yeah, well, that's
Well,
what
there you
happened. Anyway, moving on, because we spent far too long talking about urination.
Yes,
The other thing in the news that has pricked up our little ears, specifically me, because I follow Travis a little bit. Travis Barker, that is.
Love you, Travis.
Love you, Travis. Thanks for listening to the podcast, mate.
Definitely listening to it.
He has just signed Avril Lavigne to his label. And Avril has said that he just gets her.
What have I been saying for the past fucking year of our music? Do you guys remember what I've been saying over
everything
and over
comes
again?
in waves.
Yes.
It comes in... Sorry.
And nostalgia has been getting revamped in the last year. More and more people are wanting that 90s nostalgic, people our age.
I think they're just...
Yeah.
I think 90s is a little... Like, maybe yes, because we're seeing that.
Late
but
80s,
90s,
90s, early 2000s. That's what I'm...
But yeah, just nostalgic stuff from our childhood and our age group.
music, it comes in waves, man, and now it's coming back to that 90s, early 2000s of when we were like young kids
I
growing up
couldn't be
listening to
happier
that shit.
that Avril's signed with Travis.
Yeah, and it's like all the punks coming back and grunge is coming back and a lot, even our type of metal, like new metal with rappers coming back a lot more. It's not just constant screams all the time. Like now it's more, lyrical
Well, Limp Bizkit's
again.
back. Corn made
Yeah.
a new single
Corn and-
recently.
heaps of man. It's going. It's good, man. It's becoming relevant again, which is really cool. So
Love to see it.
That's awesome. Well, yeah,
I'm sure
she's
she'll make some good music.
she's
I'm keen for it.
she's working obviously with Travis now. They seem to get along quite well from what
Is he
I've read.
just like drumming for her, or what? How's that working?
no,
what does he
he's not.
produce?
No, he just works in the studio and stuff with people and
I'm
helps,
sure he will be
helps
doing the
out.
drums as well.
He might. But he's just they're starting
For all
to
blast
work
beat
together
and
and
all the
stuff. There's a little interview on Apple Music One now that she's talking about it, which I'm getting this kind of info from. But yeah, I think that's just really cool. It's exciting. I think there's new music anyway coming out, but that's cool. Hell yeah. Now, Cam,
Yes.
your
Going
time has
into
come.
the stars. To infinity and beyond.
Oh, my dog's gone crazy here.
Yeah, we shouldn't have done
sure
that.
with you.
Anyway, that's the introduction to your alien encounter.
We've been
Buckle up. Ready for the countdown.
So we've been
We're going to
asking.
space.
People have been asking us for aliens for a while. Justin, talking about you.
Yeah.
He's like, every time I jump on Discord, he's like, "Where are the aliens? Talk about aliens."
Where are
in
the
your
aliens?
podcast."
Well, here we are.
All right,
We're
so-
25 minutes in, our rocket is launching.
So is Binty's.
Yeah. What?
Red rocket.
Excuse me? Oh my God.
Okay. So anyway, trying to think now. Blah, blah, blah.
The aliens took your
Okay,
brain.
so we're gonna talk about, like an alien story that I have I saw, or can't say aliens because I didn't see aliens. I saw a UFO. Want to talk about that?
What about the little blue man that you said you had?
He probed
with?
me once. I told you that in confidence. And then we're going to talk about renewable energy and shit like that and how it all ties in. But anyway, so let's get into the story. All right, so I am in. It was Wynnum or Birkdale in Southside, near the water. I think it was Wynnum, technically
Yeah.
Wynnum. And I'm at my mate's house, and we are sitting at the back. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon. He was having a shower and getting ready because we were going to go out drinking that night, and I'm just sitting in his backyard, just fucking waiting
On your own?
on my own,
Convenient.
by myself. Shut up. And he came out.
I'm
but
going to debunk this
when I
before
started
it's even started.
screaming, he fucking came out and saw it too. So fuck you. And I'm not drunk. Don't do any drugs. So I'm fucking just sober as fuck, just chilling. And I was just walking around his backyard, looking at his pool, looking at shit because I've got ADHD. I can't see still, and I'm just walking around, just bored, waiting for this cunt to get ready. Anyway, so I'm looking at the sky, and then I just see this like yellow orb, and it's just like floating there, and I'm like, oh, that sort of looks like a light or like a lantern or something. I was like, it looked really weird, and it was like orangey yellow color, and then it started moving across, but it didn't like slowly, gradually speed up. It just went boom, and it just started like moving from right to left, really fast. But there was no sound. There was no like plane sound or anything, and I was like just watching this thing, and then it changed direction, and it went like 45 degrees on an angle down. Instantly, it didn't curve or anything. It was just like bang, like a fucking ping pong ball. It hit the freaking wall and bounced off.
Like watching Pac-Man. Like
yeah,
just
literally,
bounce
it was
off
like boop, like that, and then it went straight again. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then it spawned off. It looked like a flare had popped off it, and I was like, "Oh, it must be like some plane thing or something." But then the flare turned into 3 other little orbs that were like floating with it, and then it stopped, and then they formed a triangle. And they're sitting here in this triangle, 1, 2, 3, and then the big orb in the middle. And they're just hovering. I can see it doing like a little hover thing, like moving left to right. And I was just like, freaking, I couldn't even film it because I was so just like smacked at like Godsmacked to what the hell I'm seeing. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm screaming at my mate, freaking come outside, have a look at this. And then he came out, he saw it as well. And then there was like a flash of light, and then it just went, boom, and it just, all of them, I could tell they exited the atmosphere because when it left, the line was, it left like a faded, like orangey yellow line. And then as the line got further and further out, it got less visible and less visible. So you could see the start of the line, and then it was like less and less and less and less. And then it just exited the atmosphere. And I just remember being like, I literally just saw a fucking UFO in Australia. And then I got crazy obsessed with UFOs after that, like just Googling left, right, and center. And I found stories from across all over the world, France, freaking America, Mexico, heaps of places.
Yeah.
And they had all seen extremely similar things to what I had seen. And one girl in Australia from Melbourne saw the same UFO in the same pattern, in the same dimension that I did. And it was at the same time at 2:30 in the afternoon. But she was in Melbourne and I was in Brisbane.
Wow.
So obviously we didn't see the same one, but she saw the same, the way it formed and shit.
Yeah.
She reported it to a newspaper, and I was reading the news article and stuff.
That's crazy.
So there you go. And then, so now I obviously believe in aliens like a fucking completely.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're walking among us or any of that shit. I don't know how deep it goes, whether our government, I definitely think our government or every government knows about them and they just don't tell.
Well, yeah,
people.
this is the obviously the big thing that's in the news at the moment is the fact that there's like it was slipped into the bill or the agreement.
Yeah, when coronavirus was at its fucking peak, it was like, oh, UFOs are actually real, guys, and Pentagon released all this crap, but they did it right at the coincidentally the time where it was going to get no news coverage.
That's right, yeah, and basically the former head of the Pentagon and stuff, they've confirmed that UFOs are real, and there are things that are out there that fly around that they have absolutely no clue where they are and what they're coming from, and that means they don't think it's like China or Russia or whatever the hell. Like, it's literally nobody has a clue.
What I saw was, I don't believe could be humanly man-made with the speed it was traveling, how it was changing, directions without it wasn't using any traditional human ways of movement. And if it was something human, like a freaking army thing, why the fuck would they be like, oh, let's test this plane right across all our citizens, or we could see it. Like, they'd go and do it in the desert somewhere where no one is or something. I don't know. They wouldn't be doing it right in front of a city.
Yeah.
So, crazy. And there's so many people that have come out, and it sort of fucks me off too. I remember when I was really reading this stuff, there was like someone who worked for Area 51 and said they were reverse engineering the Roswell crash and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he came out when he was on his deathbed, like, he was like, it's all real, like, aliens are real, we found them, and da-da-da-da-da. And then when people tried to validate his information. They're like, there's no information of him around. He wasn't even a doctor. Like, he has no like hospital, has no university records, or he has. I'm like, they could delete that shit like this, bro. Like,
Yeah. Well, we saw that.
That's easy.
I don't know if you've seen it, but the documentary about Bob Lazar. It was on Netflix.
Is that the
and
Tic
went.
Tac one that he saw the Tic Tac UFO? I think it is.
Not sure.
Oh, I might be wrong.
It might
I
be
have seen him on
different,
Joe
but it's
Rogan.
Jeremy Corbell is the guy that is big into UFOs. He's been on Joe Rogan, and he bought. I think what's his face went on there, but Bob Lazar. But that's a good one to watch because he was like working for them and was actually saw a whole bunch of the technology they were trying to reverse engineer, and part of the people that were in this sort of small elite crew that got to figure it out. And it was all, he was saying it was all decompartmentalized. So he would only know about the energy propulsion systems. That's what his job was or something. And, the other workings of the craft were other teams, and you weren't allowed to share and cross information across because then you knew too much.
Send it all to the one
Yeah,
place.
but he was like fully cancelled and deleted, and they said that he didn't go to universities that he actually did, and he has photos.
They
and
can
all
cancel
this,
it. Like that's another, that almost leads into our. We won't talk about it today because it's really interesting for another podcast. But just quickly into how the government's trying to govern everyone into a more convenient way of identifying yourself, and then they want everyone on that fucking ID thing. Have you seen that? And they get all your information is in this one place. Now they're going to do facial recognition, and they're going to be able to like just tell everything about you, what every conversation you've ever had, all your medical history,
social credit scores and stuff.
everything
and just be all like online.
Yeah, it's going to be all online, and they can fucking just pretty much sell you information off to whoever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
much already happens, but
Yeah, but they're doing it blatantly now, and they're making
they're
the
kind
public.
of making everyone like aware of it. But
Yeah,
that
you have to.
happens.
You have to like
anyway.
bloody agree to it now, and bloody willingly be like, sign this thing to say yes, please have all my information.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that'd be the same thing when you put all of that information in control of someone to be able to manipulate the government. They can do whatever they want, bro.
Yeah,
they can.
they
Just be like,
can.
you were never born. What birth certificate? Boop. See you
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Fade away into existence, young man.
Exactly. So that's kind of where it's scary. And then, I've got the website of all websites, ufos.news.
It's so hard to see through propaganda too, because there's so many fake shit out there where they'll be like, they try and discredit the real stuff by deliberately putting out fake stuff.
Yeah.
And then you end up being like, well, I know what's real. It's all just fucking whatever. And then you chuck it in movies and media of like, people wearing tinfoil hats, like they're trying to read my thoughts and shit.
Yeah.
You're just like, people put that out there to discredit the real people that are actually doing real research on this thing. But why they would want to keep it secret, I
It's
don't know.
easier, I guess, with UFOs and stuff.
Why would
To the normal person, it's easier to think it's all.
Why is that such a big deal to me, though? Like, dude, you live on a fucking planet, which you learn about in school, that floats around a fucking sun, orbits around the sun, a star, in a freaking galaxy of a universe of fucking millions of others, billions of others. Like, you don't think there's other ones out there. Why the fuck would the government be like, hey, we're going to keep this a secret?
guess
Is it
this
because of religion? That's the only thing I can think of.
No, I think it's just the culture around UFOs, and then it's like people don't even know much about the universe itself, and you're only taught what they want you to know in certain
The universe is
things.
amazing.
So like everyone has a sort of a
Do you
shortened-
reckon it's trying to keep motherfuckers more closed-minded? Like, because I think the
What do they have
schooling
to
system
benefit
is...
from that, though?
Dude, the control,
No,
bro.
with aliens. Well, control
Oh,
what?
because they control everything. Like, what I'm talking about is like fucking, like I'm talking about the schooling system right now. Like, why don't we learn about more of this shit in school? Like, being more open minded. Because if you raise more closed minded people and you keep them in there like little fucking, this is what you know. This is why they don't teach fucking life skills in fucking high
Yeah,
school.
well, that's a whole nother
That's-
issue.
They're
I suppose.
easier to
Rubbish.
fucking.
It's
manipulate.
true, yeah. So it's like you're not fed the right narrative. It's on movies and TV shows. It's always like this little like I was joking about little blue guys like E.T. It's like it's been like made comical almost
Yeah.
and seem a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody's like, oh, aliens and whatever. Now that like
so
NASA
much
is coming
information,
out.
yeah.
Like this one says, Bill Nelson, the head of NASA, said he believes we are not alone in the universe, and he's like the head of NASA. It's like, that kind of thing, and the Pentagon coming out. Like, there's a reason why they're saying it now, and I think, everyone can conspiracize or whatever the bloody word is. Like, think about all these different theories, but at the end of the day, we've just got to go off like your stories like yours or encounters or like what people have seen and stuff,
yeah.
and try and get all the truth out.
My beliefs on aliens and all that, if I can nudge my way into this.
No, you can't.
Nah,
Next question.
sorry.
Out of the band.
No, I believe aliens exist, and like I think it's very close-minded if you don't at least open yourself up to the thought that they could be real. But with the sheer scale of the universe, I don't think we'll ever come in contact.
What do you reckon I saw then?
I'm not sure. I'm not discrediting you.
No, I'm saying, what do you think I saw?
I'm not sure. It could be military.
Out the front of a million of a city,
I know.
and they're just flying around like,
I know.
"Woo!"
There's so many questions in it, but with the sheer scale of the universe, the closest star to us is like billions of light years. Oh, not billions,
but to us,
thousands
you gotta
of light
understand
years
though.
away.
To us, we move in a 3-dimensional plane, but we know
So
that that 4
you
dimensions.
think they can travel in the fourth dimension?
Fucking oath they can, bro. That's not that hard to believe. Like, we as 3-dimensional creatures think of a fourth dimension as absolutely incomprehensible. Like, we can sort of understand it, wrap our head around it, but it's like, it's insane. But you think of a creature that was on a 2D dimension, they would have no idea about a 3D dimension. They'd be like, how can you move? I only know back and forward. What do you mean up and down? What the fuck? And they would, but we just go, well, up and down, no worries.
There's multiple dimensions.
Yeah, and it's
reality.
mathematically proven. So I don't think it's that crazy. I just think as humans, because we live in 3D, we go, no, that's ridiculous, because we can't even imagine to comprehend how that would be. But if you could move within 4 dimensions, then you could easily travel shit tons of distances. It's like when they say you have a sheet of paper that's 2D, right? And you have a hole here and you have a hole here.
Wormhole.
If you, wormhole. If you like fold it, it's like, I know it's not 4 dimensions, but it's
No,
like
that's just
there's like
wormholes.
creepy things you can do that fucking like manipulate shit, and they probably can.
Yeah, well, like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Even things like telepathy and stuff. Like, there's proven things where, like in studies and stuff. I mean, in humans, it's not as much, but like plant life and stuff, you can
communicate.
You can do one thing to a plant or a thing in one side of the world, and it will happen and replicate in the other side of the world. They're doing it with like things like rats and stuff, where they might teach them a behavior by getting a reward system, and then they find that rats on the other side of the world are learning that behavior automatically without having been exposed to it, because they're communicating like that.
Jeez.
And like same with humans, right? So you might be thinking of someone and then they call, or like you're like, oh, I was just thinking about you, and it's like that people go, oh, it's just coincidence, but like if you study that, yeah, it's like it happens all the time. But going off what you were saying before,
cool,
like I'm going to read what this head of NASA guy says. He goes, my personal opinion is that the universe is so big, and now there are even theories that there might be other universes. In that case, who am I to say that planet Earth is the only location of a life form that is civilized and organized like ours? Are there other planet Earths out there? I certainly think so, because the universe is so big.
It's like mathematically, it's like impossible for there not to be other.
Yeah, exactly.
I just realized I didn't say that into the mic. Mathematically, it's like impossible that there wouldn't be any other life, because there's like something like millions of other planets that are in the what they call the Goldilocks zone, of where a planet is close enough to a sun that it's hot and warm, but it's not far so close that it burns, but it's not so far away that it's like freezing cold. There's like a certain Goldilocks zone that a planet can orbit a star, and it would have all the right conditions to have a planet be like Earth, with like oxygen, carbon, and
Well, the thing is, like
helium
we
and all that.
only know of carbon life. There might be other forms of life other than carbon-based life
Well,
forms.
I'm going to throw in
Biological.
a little spin, because this gets a little bit deep, but it's like, so quantum physics, and like if you think in that terms, it's basically like there's a lot of parallel universes and things happen. So, for example, my choice to come in and say this, 5 seconds ago, I might not have chosen to say that. So I've then diverted this reality off in a certain direction. And every single action and thing that you have, you've got multiple actions that you could have
it's like Rick and
taken.
Morty.
So, well, yeah, and it's like, that's
yeah. It's
the
a
ultimate
proven
break
theory,
off,
though,
and there's
like, I think.
infinite pathways.
I like to think that time isn't linear, which we know it isn't.
Well, it isn't, yeah.
But I like to think of it in that way, of that everything you have done and ever will do, and everything that's happened in the past and the future has already happened, and that free will is an illusion, and that we think in that moment in time we were like, oh, yeah, I'll choose this. But in reality, we were always going to choose that. In that point in time, we were always going to make that choice. So I like to just live my life like that and go fucking, if I feel like this is the right thing to do, whenever I get confused about something, I'm like, oh, what choice should I make? I just think, whatever choice I'm going to make, that was always going to be the choice. Because I just pick one and I just go with it. Instead of like umming and ahhing about shit and go, oh, I don't know, well, maybe. No, I just go fucking cool, I'll pick that. And because in that moment in time, I was always going to pick that. I was always going to go that way. My life was always going to take me that direction. So,
yeah, that's a very good point.
I just tied that in with the tip of the day, with where you don't rush decisions, and then you're saying,
oh no, it's not a rushing of decision. It's just trusting your gut.
Yeah, okay. It's what it is when you make a decision, you don't go, oh, was that the right one? Oh, should I go back?
Right, so the afterthought.
Yeah, like you don't double back on choices you've made. Like if you make a choice, you just stick to it because you're like, I was always going to make that choice in that moment in time.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Bing bang.
That's right.
Bing bong bish.
So I'm going to read a little bit from
We're having a
this.
sausage sizzle, minty.
What topic are we on now?
This is still UFOs. We're still kind of in this because we want to talk about like what's happening at the moment in terms of how relevant it is right now. Because the latest kind of stuff is that the government is becoming more like forthcoming about stuff and is basically forced to kind of say everything we know because they're saying that it's a security threat, that we don't know what these are. So former CIA Director John Brennan has speculated that these UFOs could constitute a different form of life. This other dude said that some UFOs have shown technology we don't have and we can't defend against. So Senator Mitt Romney and several others with access to classified information have ruled out the possibility that these were the work of foreign powers with great technological prowess. So basically, it's not anybody else. We don't know what it is.
Can I weigh in?
Let me finish this. Okay. One video we know the Pentagon contains 23 minutes of footage of UFOs moving in a highly unusual pattern. Basically, he's used terms like extremely compelling and perplexing to describe the video. And they know that it's all from there's 143 sightings they can't explain between 2004 and 2021, which people are going like, okay, so what the hell is it? What else do you know? And like, okay, can you tell us everything we know? And there's a report that came out about all of this, which explains it all.
If something's traveling from fucking light years and light years of traveling across the fucking universe, you know, it's gonna have better technology than us. So I think think the humans always go to fucking security just makes me laugh. I'm like, if they wanted to take us over, they would demolish.
They would have
us
done it already.
Like,
if you can travel at the speed of light, then you beat humans.
It's even quicker than the speed of light when you think about it. I know nothing with mass can travel at the speed of light. You can go 99.9%. But I'm talking, that's from what we know. There's got to be more. There could be laws of physics that haven't even been invented yet. Like you look at the way that technology and our knowledge advances. Anyone from the 1900s would be like, "There's no way you could do this." And then 100, 200 years later in our time, it's like, "Oh my god." You know, they were not retards, that's stupid. But, you know, they were like fucking, they didn't know all this information that we have now. Like Einstein wrote fucking, you know, E equals MC squared or whatever.
Exactly.
And then someone else grabs that and they add on to it and they go, you know, Stephen Hawking's like, Hawking radiation, like black holes. You know, there's evidence now that black holes, when they absorb shit, like when shit goes past the event horizon and gets sucked into it and fucking, people used to be like, we don't know if it just disappears, does it completely, utterly defy all laws of physics and just turn into nothing. But now, when they're from studying black holes, they've seen that the Hawking radiation, the radiation that the black hole emits from the black hole, is equal to the shit that has been
put into it.
Yeah, it's been put into
sucked into it. Yeah. Wow. So it
Neil
just like
deGrasse
balances
Tyson
it out.
taught me that.
I think there's an alleged thing called a white hole as well, which is just constantly producing matter, but after the point where it's inside. Everything outside
I think that's when the
from
sun collapses in on itself, right?
That's a supernova.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when my brain just like absolutely died then when you nothing can affect the inside of a white hole, but it's constantly spewing out everything It's
And
weird.
that-
It's such a weird
You know what
concept.
that tells me, man? That just tells me that yin and yang once again. Like there is always positive and negative.
Balance.
There's always yes and no. There is always a fucking balance.
Yeah.
Polarity.
In everything, and not even in fucking humans, in everything, in the entire universe, entire world. There was always a positive and there's always a negative. Even
Yeah.
what's the is it electron and a neutron? The one's positive charge, one's
Yeah.
negative charge.
Yeah.
Like there's
It's
always,
everything.
balance, man.
Because you have to have one to be able to understand the other. Like I always talk about,
Tie
like,
this into your emotions too. It's like
it's like with
Happiness
with
is- yeah.
happiness, right? So you can't be happy if you haven't understood what sad is and how unhappy is, and you don't understand what a happy moment is.
Some
But
people that are fucking
vice versa.
sad is probably because they walk around depressed. Is probably because they've never really felt true sadness or true happiness. They've probably been neutral. They've probably had a life where it's very neutral, where they haven't really had many highs and lows. So therefore, they just stay in this like depressed state.
True.
Because sometimes, like I've had like some really crappy shit happen to me. But then when I'm happy, it's like I really generally feel happy because it's like I appreciate that small hit of
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
Because I've been in sadness way more than I've been in happiness.
Yeah.
So when I do feel happy, it's like I appreciate that feeling a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, going back to sort of polarity, that's exactly what you're saying. Like there has to be a positive and negative, or a an up and down, an in and out. Like there's no.
We should write a song called Balance.
All right, let's get to it. Can we move away from aliens slightly?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell my
Okay.
story because Justin
Yeah.
wouldn't shut up about it.
No,
there you
that's-
go, Justin
Yeah. Well, I think
from Melbourne.
the aliens are a really good thing to be talking about.
I
But
know
I
his
think
address
if you go into
Let's not dox
that's
him.
dangerous.
I'm just kidding. Well, I do, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, aliens is a good one. We just, it's all speculation. So there's people out there that have more information. So check out those names that we said. Like, who were you saying? Bob. I said Bob Lazar and Jeremy Corbell, but
Neil deGrasse Tyson
Yeah.
doesn't do much on aliens, but he does a lot on.
he's on the
just-
universe and
on
he's
universe
physics and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool to. He explains it in very easy to understand ways.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of other people, but that's all good. I think we can sort of tie this into maybe talking about a bit of like renewable energy and energy sources because it's a huge topic, but I want to kind of direct the start because we're talking about the fact that using all of these fossil fuels, we're eventually going to run out, we're destroying the planet, and we want to turn them into renewable sources. And we've got the technology to do so. We also know that that doesn't benefit certain people and corporations because they don't want to bring in these new sustainable sources because they lose all their money and their income and things like that. So that's obviously a reason why it's slowed down. But there's some fascinating things that are going on in the renewable energy kind of space and things that you can do and ways of doing it. It's just very tough to then convert that into real world situations and replace what
Well,
we already have.
I've been watching this YouTube channel called ASAP Science, so look them up if you want to look at science stuff. And they're doing this one thing at the moment where they called Shut It Off, and they go out into like a completely off grid cabin, and then they've just been surviving completely off the grid and coming up with their own calories to eat every day, their own energy. And it's actually amazing how many ways you can very easily get energy from literally stuff that is in the earth every single day, day in, day out, and it's unlimited supply that will always be there.
Yep.
And no one's doing not no one, there's plenty of people trying to implement it, but I'm talking people in the position of power that can actually implement this on every single home across the fucking world aren't doing shit about it. Because the one argument you hear all the time is, oh, you don't get enough and it doesn't solve the energy crisis. We're like, well, why are you trying to go to the extreme with it? It's not about solving every single energy issue in the entire world. It's about taking the load off, like essentially with like what we're talking about with the friction, right? If you were to ride a like think of how many gyms there are across the entire world, millions of gyms, hundreds of thousands of gyms of people training every day.
Cycling Ks.
If you do cycling, Ks, running on treadmills and shit, that friction, Morgan can explain it better than me when he talks. It's about the battery stuff, right?
Yeah, it's about well, if we're talking about the bikes, it would be magnets passing across each other. So you'd have two magnets, one connected to a copper wire into a battery, and as these magnets pass each other at a speed,
Makes
they
an
can
electron, right?
create a small amount of friction and like it sheds off a little bit of electricity, and you can store that up. I
Yeah.
believe that's how it works. I'm
Yeah.
probably oversimplifying
So
it.
you still need fossil fuels because you would have to use a battery, and batteries use like lithium and shit, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's not about completely and utterly getting rid of fossil fuels. It's about using as much natural energy as we possibly can. That's literally there every single day, and taking a solid 25-30% off every single home in the entire freaking world, just from solar panels and, you know, little things like the friction battery and stuff in every gym, powering, like putting power back into the grid.
Yep.
And then that grid gets used up by everyone else. Yeah, the average home is going to use a lot more energy than what solar is going to be able to provide and everything. But if you just put these things in place, you're taking a massive load off the fucking the power grid, and then that way, when we do have to use fossil fuel power, we're only using 40% of it, not 100% every day, fueling absolutely everything. That's my
It's
opinion
just to
on
take
it.
the edge off of like.
I got solar panels
things
on
we
my
use
roof.
now.
So I own this studio in this house that we're in right now. And well, I don't own it, the bank does, but I'm paying it off. And I have solar panels on this roof now. And ever since we've implemented them, I use almost exactly the same amount of power that only my solar panels use to run this entire house, with me and my girlfriend living in it. And that's me with a music studio with high-end music gear and speakers that use a lot of charge and shit, PlayStations, gaming, you know, blah, blah, blah. My energy bill that comes in quarterly is like $70. That's for 3 months. My energy bill's only $70 because my solar panels are giving me that much fucking power. That's just from the sun. Now imagine if you had everyone had a massive ass water tanker that every time it pissed down raining, that filled up with water, and it got put through a filtration system, and then every time you wash your hands or have a shower or brush your teeth or whatever, or flush the toilet, the water comes from fucking there.
And going off what you're saying about the solar, say if you didn't, there was periods of time where you didn't use as much energy as it took off the roof. Like there might be
credit it back.
Someone. Well, yes, this is what they do is they credit it back. But what you can do is you can store it, and then for times when there's emergencies or the power's down or it's there's like no sun for ages or something, you can't get power. It's going to store it to then use it later on, and that's where you can develop these within neighborhoods and within like areas where you can set up these grids and sort of share resources.
Australia especially.
Well, yeah.
There's so much land here that we're not using. I've driven from Queensland to Melbourne before, and I went through the back streets, and it was just like, I was just driving for like freaking 16 hours. It was just like land. And I'm like, there's nothing here.
There's a few wind farms around, but there's like,
I remember there was actually like a campaign that a beer company over here did, and you could donate your solar electricity to this place, and you'd get delivered a free carton of beer. So there are places that are actually thinking about it, and apparently a beer factory is one of them. I can't remember the exact one. It might be 4X or something. But yeah.
Love 4X.
Clever.
But yeah, I just randomly remembered that.
It's really clever, yeah, because there's people doing stuff about it. I've got this article up from talking about this renewable energy microgrid that's being built on one of Japan's islands. And basically there's 12,000 residents there, and they've created this grid based off the original power lines. So it uses all the original power and stuff that's there.
That's awesome.
And it says it will require new power lines, instead utilizing existing power distribution network and serve consumers throughout the island. It generates carbon-free power with a combination of solar power, wind power, storage batteries, and an energy management system that balances power supply and demand, which is what I was kind of talking about before, where, like you're all fully connected, and like if you're in a community where you guys all share stuff and share resources, like there might be someone that doesn't use as much power, but they use a shit ton of water on their garden, and you're the opposite, and you're sharing stuff and resources. It might help you both pay less, or like, store what you can off the environment, and then you're fully self-sustainable without having to.
If anywhere was going to do it first, it'd be Japan. I love
good.
I love Japan.
I also read somewhere that they're starting to do they could do solar panels now that are see-through and like double see-through on each side, and they're building buildings with them in replacement of glass
That's
windows.
such a cool idea.
So like
cool.
all the windows are going up. So you have all the frame around every window, and then each window is actually acts as a solar panel. So instead of just having glass
Pretty
that's doing
genius.
nothing, yeah, it's like so they're not as good as your generic solar panel, but they
I mean, all that double glazed glass for
Over and over.
skyscrapers.
yeah, when you
and all
do
that,
over
they
20
cost a fair
stories
bit
high,
anyway.
like over and over and over again, like it's just constant power that the sun keeps hitting it.
You
and
could
it just
power
keeps,
that building. For
Yeah, it's just there's so many things that can be implemented that are only, I think people are only just starting to take it serious now, which is the typical human reaction when Earth's about to fucking implode. It's like now we're like, oh, maybe we should do something about this. We're all gonna
Yeah.
die.
Well, that's
30
it.
years or something, they reckon.
Well, I guess that's kind of what There's two parts to this climate thing. There's like the one side of it, which is like, okay, obviously we're using too many resources, our population's getting out of control, and we're not having the same connection with Earth that we should. Like we don't live amongst Earth and its creatures. We fucking dominate it like we're the king. And it's like you can't do that because you're going to run out of resources. You're going to sever this relationship that's supposed to be symbiotic with the whole like of life, right? But there's also the capitalization on various elements of it. So people might come out and like say governments are saying, we need to do this, that for political reasons. Then there's people that are saying, oh, hey, like come buy our burgers because we use renewable energy on our machines and we're green and clean. It's like, well, actually, did you know that you're buying them from factories that cost a hell of a lot more in emissions just to supply those machines? So you're not actually being green in the first place. You're just pretending to be for the consumer and the marketing and things like this. So we've got to be careful about like where we tread in terms of who's, got our best interests at heart for this climate thing and actually realize kind of what balance and... Well, yeah, that's
At the end
it.
of the day, everyone's going to have to just do it themselves because I don't think anyone's ever going to fucking implement this shit on a government scale, on a society scale. I don't know. They've had those arguments going on for years with the environmental scientists coming out with meetings and press conferences and everything saying like you just don't understand, like we are fucking on the urge of like dying here. You don't get it. Like climate change is real, so much scientific evidence, and then so many people just keep being like, the shit's not real. And it's like, but like I've read the evidence, man. It seems pretty damn real to me.
Yeah.
They've been like, getting the general.
I think this is
I've been feeling
temperature
the
for
bloody
years.
evidence every year. It's like getting harder and colder.
I think this is not like this is where the confusion lies. It's like people say climate change, and it's like because you go, oh, there's like it's hotter or it's cold, it's whatever. It's actually like if you look back over
It's on an average.
thousands and thousands of years, it's not actually that different. And like the temperature of the Earth and shit isn't that different. The problem is we've used and fucked the resources, so there's no ability to store carbon and regenerate and keep the stuff that we're doing.
Keep
so we're
knocking down more trees as well.
The more we deplete it, the more out of balance it's
The
going to be.
Earth can't bounce back.
Yeah, so
And the Earth is for years has been very, very, very resilient and good at bouncing back asteroids and volcanoes and all this other like radioactive shit that's happened. The Earth is so good at bouncing back, but we humans are like, let's just keep cutting down all the trees that provide oxygen, literally, and yeah, when there's like hemp and shit that can make half the same fucking shit.
But build houses
The
with
thing
that.
is, it's not Earth bouncing back. Earth will bounce back from us.
Yeah, it's humans.
like when
If
we will
another-
bounce back.
That's what I've always said as well, is exactly that, man. It's like if we ever died, like the world's gonna end. It's like no, humans will end. The world will
Yeah,
keep
the world
fucking
will go
going.
on.
we're the parasite,
The world
really.
Because if you look in the
1,000
grand
years.
scheme of things, we've been on Earth for not long.
Yeah.
And we're
And-
fucked.
Things have happened. Yeah.
Didn't
I
take
think
long.
There's like an equivalent. It's like humans have been around for fucking X amount of thousands of years or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like this is like what the Earth was like beforehand, and then humans came, and it's like
Pangea and all that.
stupid, like 75% of just like fucking worse than what it was before.
So that's
Whoopsie.
our solution.
We should all just die.
If you,
That's why Elon Musk is going to Mars, bro. He smells this shit. He's like, fuck this. I'm
out of here.
gone.
Yeah.
Elon, take me with you.
Well, that's it. It's like we've realized that if we want to solve climate change, if you want to do something about this planet, just remove yourself from it. and then
That
the
just
planet
sounds
will
like you
come back together.
Kill yourself. That's what it sounds like.
That really
That's
did
not-
sound like
that's
kill yourself.
Just
not
kill
what I
yourself.
meant. That's not what I meant.
Just remove yourself from this earth.
Remove yourself from it. Yep. If the situation is bad, just remove yourself. That's another. It's tip of the day.
Fucking Jesus.
Build a space station. Build a colony
15
on
seconds,
Mars.
boys.
And a colony on Mars. And what do you mean 15 seconds?
Look at the timer.
Not 10 now.
Oh, that's not. It's not even the right time because we were talking and stuff before recording. So
Oh.
I don't know why you're watching it so closely.
Well, what else do we have to talk about?
Oh, are you conveniently ending it right when it's
No,
hitting an
I'm
hour?
just saying, is there anything more on that? Because I reckon that was really good, what we just
That
talked
was
about.
really good.
Well,
No, I have
we
nothing more
covered
to
your
add.
alien story. We covered aliens and various news articles about that, universe and planets, fossil fuels, and renewable energy. So my list is officially complete.
Oh, EKO's coming out, boys.
Yeah, EK is coming out. It feels like an age because it's a month away, but we're going to be dropping little previews, snippets, little competitions and things, various ways of, I don't know.
Win a T-shirt, bro.
Win a VIP experience with us at
Come on,
our
podcast.
house. Yeah, where we go and get a drink from the 7-Eleven and
Go for a skate.
go for a skate. Yeah. Well, that's it. I think, we'll look out for the pre-save link for us. And
got
if
one-
you enjoyed, what?
Well, one more podcast at the end of the year.
Yeah,
too.
actually, that's a good thing to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about. We've got one more at the end of the year, which we're going to do a bit of a recap. That's Cam's idea to recap the year and talk about all of our experiences, lessons, life lessons we learned, music lessons, stuff we talked about, whatever.
Yeah.
And then hopefully next year, we're going to be going into twice a month with the old podcast,
Yep.
fortnightly
Are
podcast.
you going to be
fun.
drinking on the New Year's podcast?
Maybe. This may
I've got no
be.
plans for New Year's.
Well, this may be. This may be the
sure I
drinking.
Have a couple, nothing crazy. But we could have a few.
Yeah, let's not get off ahead and not remember
Have a
what
few
we say,
beers
but-
and then upload a podcast with.
If I have too many drinks, I'm guaranteed to not even press record, and then we'll sit here for talking for like 2 hours, and then go, "Oh, it's not even recording."
Whoops.
Whoops.
Yeah.
So that's it. Share the podcast. Let us know if you enjoyed it. We've got a few more segments coming up.
Keep inboxing us ideas. We've been getting more
Been
as the
loving that.
podcast keeps going. We've been getting more people message us and interact, and it really helps because
Yeah.
it makes it more of a community and more of we love hearing from you, and hopefully you love hearing your ideas be implemented in it. And
100%. Yeah, community is the right word there.
Slowly
So we're trying to
growing.
build that. So yeah, let us know. Chat to us. We're accessible. But that's it. Thanks, boys. Great podcast. See you in a month.
Well, at the end of the year.
That's it.
Peace out.
Bye.